This is the Audio Roundtable Session 10 with Matt doing the intro for some reason.
Shut up, here's my lyrical fire.
And we are rolling.
Why do you always say we're rolling? We're not rolling.
What do you mean?
It's 2019, dude. It's digital. It doesn't roll.
So?
Well, we're recording to hard drives. It's, no one records to tape anymore.
Alright, fine. This is the Audio Roundtable, Session 10, with Matt doing the intro. And spin drives.
Solid state hard drive.
Garth.
Hello and welcome to Session 10 of the Audio Roundtable. 10? Double digits. Woo, right?
Woo!
Yay!
It's been double digits all the way along if you write it 0, 1, 0, 2.
Let him have his thing, Scott. Come on, it's early in the morning. Let him have his thing.
He really hasn't improved over this period, has he? Scott, it seems like you've got something on your chest.
On your mind.
Yeah, sorry about that. I didn't mean to harsh your buzz. But I am in a very maudlin frame of mind. I think that's a word. Because a couple of weeks ago, a terrible thing happened. I forgot it was Matt's birthday.
Yeah, you did.
And I really have no excuse at all. Like, I went on Facebook that day and Facebook said, it's Matthew McLaren's birthday. And I thought, oh yeah, I'll message later. And then I just never got round to it. But worse than that, nobody else remembered either.
Oh no.
I felt a little bit bad, but over the weeks since Matthew's birthday, that feeling has manifested itself into something much worse and has now gotten to the point where I've been having weird dreams. So I'd just like to tell you about one of them. I dreamt that I got a call from Matt, and he told me that he was auditioning for a reality TV show called Married at First Sight. I don't know if any of you have seen this.
No, I've heard of this.
I'll just run you through the premise quickly then. So there's a team of relationship experts, right? Tons of desperate fuck nuggets audition for this show, and they match them into couples. And the first time those couples ever meet each other is on their wedding day. That's the first time they ever stand in the same room or communicate or do anything. And then they go on honeymoon, and then they spend a month living together, and then they separate for 48 hours, and there's no contact during those 48 hours to decide whether they want to continue with the relationship or not. And it's fucking awful, but also strangely addictive. So
It is so addictive.
in my dream, Matt calls me and tells me that he's auditioning for that show. Now, regular listeners might know that Matt is already married to a wonderful, if occasionally slightly violent woman called Ash, who seems very nice. So I was a bit perturbed, and I said to him, dude, you're already married. And Matt's thing was, yeah, but I can probably fit in a second wife if I give up playing covers gigs. And I said, well, don't you need the covers gigs for the money? And he said, nah, to be honest, man, I'm too famous to be doing covers gigs now. And then he sprung it on me that he didn't want to throw out playing music entirely. And so what he was going to do instead was do fewer gigs as part of a Silverchair tribute band. I did try convincing him that he'd be better off going out as Matterly and Brulia, but he didn't buy it. Oh, God. And so in this dream, I decided to go to Australia because I wanted to see this Silverchair thing happen, and I kind of wanted to be hanging around while Matt was doing this Married at First Sight thing, because quite often they cut to the friends and I wanted to be almost as famous as Matt. So I went to Australia, and I dreamt that I went to the first Silverchair tribute gig, and I'm standing pretty close to the stage. There's no security around, so I think to myself, oh, I might try and sneak in a cheeky vape, right? And so I pull my vaporizer out, and I put it in my mouth, and I press the button, and at exactly the same time as I press the button, Matt starts playing the intro riff from Israel's Son on his keytar, and it's so brutal that it makes my vape explode in my face.
Fucking hell, man.
Right, a security guy comes up, And he's like, you actually can't vape in here, mate.
Love the Australian accent, by the way.
That needs a bit of
And I
work.
said to him, don't worry, it won't be happening again. The bottom half of my face is missing, so I can't even form a seal. And he said, exactly like this, yeah, we should probably get you backstage and get you mopped up. And that's all I can remember of the dream.
That is a lot to remember from the dream, though. It's an extraordinarily specific dream.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Yeah. So when I woke up, I didn't find it particularly easy to settle back down to sleep for fairly obvious reasons. And I decided to make a piece of audio that can serve as a sort of belated happy birthday. And because it's a happy birthday for Matthew, I decided to accompany myself on stereo hi-hats. And because I am metal as fuck, they are open hi-hats, and I've also run myself through a guitar amp. We'll play it for you now. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Matthew.
Wait. Who's Matthew?
Matthew McLaren.
Who?
Matt, my mate Matt.
Who's that?
He's the co-host of the Audio Roundtable podcast.
I don't listen to that.
He was the runner-up on the final season of Australia's Got Talent. I mean, he doesn't like to talk about it, but I do it for him.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what else he's done, to be honest. All right, I'll tell you what. I'll go to his Facebook. I'll get a photo. I'm sure you'll recognise him when you see him. See? There.
Oh, that's Matt.
That's Matt.
You.
He was on the telly.
Yeah, not on my telly.
Oh. Well, I'll finish it off myself then, shall I? Happy birthday to
This is awkward.
Happy birthday, fuckface.
Thank you, Scott. And, sorry, the last bit.
Happy birthday, fuckface.
Does anyone want to know how I made the didgeridoo?
Oh, is that what that was?
Is that what that was?
Go on then.
I pitched my voice down an octave using a really shitty algorithm, and then I put a sweeping resonant high pass on it.
That's very cool.
You went to a lot of effort, Scott, and it's appreciated. I'm actually a bit lost for words. I don't really know how to respond to any of that.
That's exactly what I was hoping for. By the way, Derek's back as well. On with the show.
Hi, Derek.
Welcome, Derek.
Hi. What's good?
All right, let's try and get this show under the road.
Under the road.
Under the road. Okay. Under the road. Under the bus.
Let's try and get the show on the road. Let's go to Derek and this work and lurk. Scott and Satauna, you've jumped in on this work and lurk with Derek. How's it been going?
I have done more things I didn't want to do over the last month than in some years.
Okay, that is so funny, though, that you're saying that, because my experience is that you come in, you're like, I'm going to do writing next time. I'm going to come in and I'm going to do the writing. And then you come in and you don't do the writing. So, I still think you're putting off the thing you hate to do the most.
Because there are enough audio-related things that I haven't wanted to do for a long time, to where I'm still making progress in catching up to the inevitable day where I will have nothing on my plate but blogging to do.
Oh, blogging, right, okay. Now I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
By which point, no one will have blogs anymore, so you'll get off the hook. It'll be fine.
Do people still have blogs now?
Or I'll be like this person that's just so unique. Everybody's like, dude, he's the only one doing this. This is kind of wild. He's still hanging in there. Never mind the fact that I would have just gotten started.
So run us through some of the stuff that you've been using the sessions for.
Well, the first thing, and I think we talked about this briefly last month, was that I had 2 records recorded by the American Foundation for the Blind in 1959 of the 25th anniversary commemorative celebration of the National Library Service. Side 1 is a set of instructions for the current talking book record player, and side 2 is Ed Murrow basically congratulating everybody for being awesome and making the last 25 years of NLS, a thing that has evolved and, where hundreds of books have been recorded with examples of talking books that were current at the time being read by the narrators at the time and so on. And I had 2 identical copies of this record because each record was so banged up that none of them would play without skipping or hanging at least once every 2 or 3 minutes.
That happens when you hang out with me quite often as well. You end up so banged up that you won't play. Oh, that didn't land, did it? Fucking hell. Oy, there's an outtake.
Oh, most of this thing is.
God, my insides turned to stone.
I appreciated it, Chesworth. It's okay.
Yeah, next time, show it by laughing.
Oh, look, Scott, it's fine. It's fine. We'll just move a bit of other laughter into the appropriate place like usual.
Fair point. Anyway, sorry, Derek. Carry on.
Oh, good. And so what I had to do was essentially get all the surface noise and nonsense out of each copy of the record by cleaning them very thoroughly and then doing some stuff with software. And then find the cleanest part of each of the records. And then anytime one of them would skip, I would have to go to the other copy and find the part that got left out and sort of interpolate that in to get the completed work. See why I was dreading that for a while?
Yeah, that sounds long and arduous. And,
Tedious.
yeah.
And the records, once they were synced back up, wouldn't stay synced because mechanical drift being the thing. And, they were copying this from tape and so on. So one would just sort of drift farther and farther away. So you couldn't even get it to the point where both were playing at the same time. And then when one skipped, you could just, pop off to the other track. And
So you're constantly needing to resync stuff.
Derek, was this like a commission job you had? Or was this like, a bit of a passion project?
It's kind of a passion project for Brian Smart's Retroblind project.
Okay.
Because I figure if I can do this, I can do about anything.
Yeah, fair enough.
And it's a great selfish promotion type device. And it brings about something that we can't find any other copy of. We've looked everywhere.
There's nothing selfish about that. If it's showing off your skill in audio restoration, then good for you.
Would you like to hear a little before and after?
Yes.
Yes, we would.
So I'm guessing that's the before. At least I'm fucking hoping that's the before.
This is Ed Murrow, and this is a record prepared to help you commemorate the 25th anniversary of the talking book. Contrary to the well-behaved child of family lore, talking books were made to be heard, not seen. Before we become involved in the question of what a talking book is, where it began, what it does, perhaps you'd appreciate listening to a short passage from a talking book.
The Open Door by Helen Keller.
Of course.
Of course, it's bloody Helen Keller.
Of course it's got to be by Helen Keller.
Wouldn't want any of those soddy bastards listening to our books.
Don't know, old mate had that packet of chips in the background. It's been unprofessional, isn't it?
Yes.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Fuck me, that's impressive.
That is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
This is Ed Murrow, and this is a record prepared to help you commemorate the 25th anniversary of the talking book.
He's finished his packet of chips.
Contrary to the well-behaved child of family lore, talking books were made to be heard, not seen. Before we become involved in the question of what a talking book is, where it began, what it does, perhaps you'd appreciate listening to a short passage from a talking book.
Thanks, Ed. So, Derek, is that all like RX, or what are you using? Because that's fucking amazing.
I'd love to say it's all RX, and then we could just totally, have an affiliate link for Tart and point to it. But the problem is, it's not.
I didn't think it would be.
Yeah.
So what else are you using?
Well, some of it's physical cleaning of the record.
Yep.
Some of it is a multi-band expander that I kind of whipped together with a whole bunch of the stock Reaper plugins, so I could, do noise reduction on each band and split it up and run different plugins on different bands of the audio. So just one pass of noise reduction isn't enough.
Yeah.
Because what happens in something like that is that if you run too much of one process, you hear its little quirks.
Yeah.
And so if you run a little bit of all kinds of different things, then you don't.
That's really, really cool.
Yeah, that's pretty fabulous.
Man, all I can say to that is, you're a wizard, Harry.
Which is now a reference I get because my wife made me watch most of the 8 movies.
Oh, you poor bastard.
I know, right?
Oh, the books were so much better.
They were.
Derek, is that completed?
Yeah, it is.
Sweet.
I just gotta find Brian Smart and send it once too.
Yeah, nice. The work and lurk, this has been a success then, if, getting results.
Well, yeah, let's just lay this out. Like, how long had you been avoiding this for?
Well, if you want the truth, I had been avoiding this for about 11 months.
Wow.
Okay.
I got the records and I transferred them. And I'm like, this won't be too bad because... Oh, no. Well, maybe it's gonna, clear up. It's not. Okay, well, maybe the other one's better. No, it's a different form of broken. That's fantastic. So I had these 2 copies all transferred to the best of my ability because there are things you can do to try to fix skips or hangs in a record. But even those techniques weren't doing it fully. And so I knew I'd have to interpolate. And so I saved everything, put it aside, and kept meaning to do it and kept meaning to work on it. And time passed and infinitely more interesting things, less stressful things were happening. And 11 months later, here we are on our first work and lurk. And I knew I needed to do it. I knew I needed to take care of that business.
Yay for accountability, success.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You should definitely use that for some promotion, advertising sort of what you do, man. That's really, really cool.
You have similar examples of this kind of thing at lanesaudio.com/examples.
Yeah, all right, mate. Not on my fucking podcast. You didn't say that.
Yeah, come on, steady on.
So, what is it specifically about work and lurk that managed to make you do that? Is it just like the shared suffering? Because for me, that's how it works.
Yep. There's somebody right there with you, kind of in the trenches, or their equivalent thereof.
Doing something that they don't want to do for the same amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Misery loves company.
And even if you completely, quote unquote, fail at your goal, like today, for example, Scott was able to kind of help me turn around my failure and look at it as a success that I wouldn't have otherwise thought about.
Hold on, Scott being positive about something.
Don't be ridiculous. Scott would never be
God,
positive.
no, that didn't happen. He's got a reputation to uphold.
It's a premium service that I provide to some of my very favourite people, and everyone else can get fucked.
Satauna, you've been jumping in on these work and lurks too. What sort of things have you used them to try to tackle, and have you found it effective?
Yeah, I do find it effective. I've missed a couple today. I was really, really late because there was a session that I thought wouldn't be very long, and then we got to talking about something, and it just kind of dragged for a while. But I've used it to do administration, which I truly hate.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't hate it. I've let it get out of hand, and so there's so much of it that that I've got to rein it in. So,
Hey, Satauna, I don't mean to interrupt. Well, I do mean to interrupt. Have you got a bookkeeper yet?
yeah,
You do?
I do.
Ah, good stuff.
Yeah. So part of it is doing the administration to hand all that off.
Yep.
Have you got a bookkeeper as well, McLaren?
Yeah, oh, fuck yeah.
Oh, he was beating me up. He's been beating me up for months over it.
Literally the entire time Tart's been in existence.
Yeah.
Pair of flash bastards. I am so jealous.
It's good.
I mean, it's not cheap, but it's so necessary.
But it's worth it.
I think realistically, if I had an accountant here, he would just send me a report every month that says you're still poor.
Well, I have an accountant and a bookkeeper. That's how fancy I am.
Yeah, me too.
The accountant does tax time, and then the bookkeeper does all my reconciliation and makes sure zero is all fine and I haven't fucked anything up when I'm.
Is this all just to free up more time for you to sequence hats? Is that what this is about?
And start my Silverchair tribute band.
Oh, sure.
This shit takes time.
Anyway, sorry, Satauna, you were saying.
Sorry.
So, and I've also had just the whatever's in front of me that I have to get done. So I think one day I did a bunch of revisions and pickups that were all sort of in a big pile, and I just got them all out of the way. There was a huge statistics project that I was working on, 33,000 words of statistics.
Yikes.
Like a course that somebody would take. So that was interesting. The people actually wrote that script really well because you can butcher stuff like that. And they did a really nice job. The way that they gave me the revisions completely sucked, but the initial script was great. So, yeah, I used it for a bunch of different things.
Even with a well-written script, though, that kind of project is just a bit of a grind. It's easy to avoid, isn't it? I think.
You know, I have to say a well-written script makes a lot of difference for anything that you're dealing with, and it makes it much, much, much less of a grind, and I don't mind that kind of long-form narration. I like that kind of stuff. It's straightforward, it's easy. I mean, it's not easy in the sense that you get tired. You just physically get, like your mouth just stops working.
So, Tony, your mouth's never stopped working.
But it really does make a difference depending upon how well the script is written. Now, the revisions I felt like I avoided for a while, and then I actually just sent them off to Fancy Hands Virtual Assistant, and that helped. That got the revisions back on track. Because what they did with the revisions is the 33,000 words were separated into sections, and each section was a separate file, separate WAV file. So when I did it in Reaper, I just dropped markers, and then when I rendered out, I just extracted all the files based on where the markers were, because you can name the markers. So when you extract the files, they're all named.
Yep.
And what they did for revisions was instead of sending me back one single file, they literally sent me 22 separate Word documents. I'm like, I am not opening up 22 files and figuring out what is going on. So I just sent it to Fancy Hands, and they put it all together into one document for me.
Nice.
Yeah, it was great.
How much does something like that cost? Like to outsource that task specifically?
It's pretty reasonable, man.
Fancy Hands has different subscription levels. So I think that the lowest is like $30 a month for 4 or 5 tasks.
Yeah, I think it's 5, and they're like 20-minute tasks.
Yeah.
So something like that would count as one task, right?
No, it took them more than 20 minutes to put the whole thing together.
So they use two or 3 tasks or whatever.
Yeah.
But even so, like even if they use 2 tasks, that's $12.
It's worth it. It's completely worth it.
It's so worth it, man. I outsource heaps of shit like that.
That's money well spent.
And you, Scott? What do you think of this work and lurk thing?
My perspective on it has been mainly noticing the difference from when we switched from me and Derek trying to do working and lurking as a twosome, and we got Satauna involved and made it a 3. And I think that was a really positive change, because me and Derek, we show up with good intentions, but good intentions aren't quite enough. Like, someone does have to keep an eye on the clock. We'd already figured out by the time Satauna got involved that it helps to break it into 2 sessions. So we generally do the sessions as 2 hours. The first 10 to 15 minutes of each hour is just standing around the water cooler, talking about what you're doing and just sort of shooting the shit type period of time. And then you hit the work really hard for like 45, 50. And sometimes mine and Derek's little breaky bits, we'd sort of disappear off down rabbit holes that are really interesting to us, but not actually helping us get the work done. It's very easy when it's just the 2 of us for the hard 50 to become a hard 45 becomes a hard 40. Shit, it's a hard 30. We better do something.
We've only got 30 minutes left of this hour. Yeah.
And, you know, it's not the end of the world, because if you hit that 30 hard, you still get good stuff done, right? But you've showed up for 2 hours and you've worked for an hour versus showing up for 2 hours and working for like an hour and 40 minutes. When you're really hitting it hard, 40 minutes of difference is huge. So it's been good to have a third person there, because Satauna just doesn't fuck about as much as we do, basically. And it does work as a twosome. But I would say for anybody else that's going to try and do this, probably keep the groups fairly small. I mean, the most we've tried in the process of tackling this goal has been 4. And for me, 4 felt a little bit much. For me, 3 is the magic number.
Yeah.
So I'd say try and keep your groups fairly small, and make sure that at least one person in that group is someone that, how can I put it, has a healthy respect for the timer, specifically starting the timer.
I'm a bit jealous that I haven't been able to get involved. You and your shitty time difference.
Yeah, you idiots. I know, like Derek said, if I'd been involved, maybe I would have got episode 9 edited by now and 8 a bit quicker.
We could do an evening. Well, I don't know how the Aussies would. How would you guys do it? You guys would have to do it in the morning for me to be in the evening times, but
Yeah.
that could be fun.
Yeah, Scott and I were talking about having multiple work and lurks today, in fact. So it's interesting you mentioned that.
Well, we've been doing 2 a week, haven't we?
Yeah.
The goal was 1 a week, but we've doubled down.
At 10 a.m. as opposed to 12 p.m.
Yeah, 10 a.m. Eastern.
We moved the time a little bit earlier, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
I think we made all of them, didn't we?
Yeah, actually.
We
Yeah.
Made all of them?
Hey.
I think so.
So, at least two of us made all of them. Yes. So, I mean,
oh yeah, because
not the same two people, but yes, there was one where Derek was out, and there was one where I was out, and yeah. So, I think the other reason to have three people is that you don't have the case where it just doesn't happen because one person has something else come up.
Yeah, that's huge. So there's like a layer of redundancy there.
Yeah, cool.
So has anybody trademarked workandlurk.com?
Wow, that's a good question.
That's a good idea, though.
All right, so let's talk about the types of contexts that this working method can apply in. I've been a bit more scattered with it in that I have been turning up, but I've just been throwing all sorts of shit at the wall to see what sticks. So, for example, one session, I wrote a stand-up set that I was going to be performing that night. Gave myself like an hour of writing, an hour of rehearsing, and actually ended up missing the gig that night because it took like an hour and a half for what should have been a 30-minute journey. And then by the time I got into the gig, they'd had a bunch of people drop out and wrapped up early. So I went into the promoter and was like, what time's the gig start? And he was like, you missed it.
Oh, jeez.
No way.
But I've used the material since, and it was all right. Very much the same quality as all of my comedy writing is at the moment. There's stuff that lands and there's stuff that makes me want to kill myself. So some of it's going to be staying and some of it's going to be consigned to the foul depths, never to be heard of again. But I didn't notice any difference between the ratio of stuff that I was keeping and throwing away when I compare what I wrote during Work and Lurk to what I ordinarily write over the course of like an entire evening. So in that context, very much the same result as I'm used to getting, but it just compresses the time by like, I don't know, a third or something.
Yeah.
Some other things I've been using it for, stuff where I'm working for mates rates, that kind of thing tends to fall right to the bottom of the pile for me.
Yep.
A lot of the time when I'm doing mates rates stuff and I'm slotting it in wherever I can, most of the time I've already been working that day and my ears are a bit shot. I'm kind of tired and I'm kind of pissed off and I don't really want to be doing it. So I figured, what if I just hit it really hard and have like focused mini goals? And I've been smashing mates rate stuff.
So it's been really good.
Yeah, it's been good.
It's just nice to have the people. That's a big one for me.
The next things that I want to try with it are, I want to try musical output. I think I've already identified a suitable lab rat, and Satauna's going to be tagging along for that one as well, because do you remember all the way back in episode 1 when she said she wanted to make more music? Well, now we're going to find out what it fucking sounds like.
Hey.
So that's going to be a 3-piece as well. And the idea for that is that we hit it super hard for 45 minutes. You have to show your work at the end of that 45 minutes. And we just do really, really, really quick fire comments and critique. And then we go back for the second 45 minutes and try and implement those critiques.
Yeah, right.
Another thing I want to try with it is getting one of the bands that I play in to all be working and lurking at the same time on specific tasks. The idea of a band not even necessarily getting together, but just being super focused and putting in the same amount of time. I think that's going to be really positive for us in like a, I hate using this word, but I can't think of a better one, in like a team buildy type way.
Mm.
Jesus, I've put everyone to sleep.
Well, I remember back in the day when I was in bands, and like we did do a similar thing in that we would have an hour where we all had tasks we had to, had individual things we had to do, and we did do them at the same time, and that did seem to be kind of successful.
Okay.
Because it was all the grindy shit that you don't want to do, promotion or whatever.
Yeah.
Calling people or whatever it might be.
Well, that basically is the same thing, isn't it? At 9 o'clock, we're all going to sit down and do what we have to do. You're just not hanging out together on Skype or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been trying to get my previous band in a room to work on this stuff together for over a decade, and I've utterly failed to get them to do it once. So the idea of being able to do it without leaving their houses, and this is also a different band, I think it might work.
So you'll still like hook up over Skype or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, the two other chaps live much closer together.
Yeah.
Depending on what they're doing, if it's like creative output type stuff, like lyric videos or some shit like that, maybe they'll want to get together. But for me, it's like, I don't know, an hour and a quarter, an hour and a half, door to door each way.
Nah.
And to travel for 3 hours to work for 2 hours, fuck that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Why is England so hard to get around, man? It is not that big of a place. London sounds like a shit show.
It basically takes a minimum of 45 minutes to get anywhere unless it's within walking distance.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's kind of stupid. So yeah, that's where I'm going to be going with it. The band type thing is going to be starting whenever this EP gets finished, but it's not that far from being finished. Actually, I might need to bring the band on at some point because I'm fast approaching that awkward sort of 90% time, which is where I tend to bomb out and not finish stuff.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So should we check in a couple of months to see how this working and lurking is going?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, actually, we should probably decide what we're doing about our one. Are we keeping our little 3 going?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake. All right, I guess I'm in.
You don't have to be. I mean,
No, I'm good. I'm the only person that's made all of them. It can't happen without me.
No, there was one where you were at a gig and you forgot, actually. It was toward the beginning. It was like the second or third one.
But that was between us, though. That wasn't after Satauna got involved.
It doesn't count.
I'm resetting the clock from when Satauna got involved.
Yeah, whatever.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Whatever.
You're not immigrating that to Australia, Garth. It's not happening, dude.
People have been saying that around here a lot, and I don't know why or where it came from, but you have to slur it. Whatever.
Whatever.
There you go. That's pretty good.
The worst kind of people. Oh, I've got a story.
All right.
Not related. But I was out with a friend the other day and we're having coffee and she ordered a double espresso. And old mate brings it to the table and he's like, okay, here's your long black and here's your double spro. And I'm like, what?
Spro?
What?
double spro. Wow.
And I'm like, what'd you just say? He's like, oh, you double espresso. I'm like, did you say spro? And I'm like, man, you didn't save any time by saying that, really. Like in the grand scheme of things, I think I made him feel really uncomfortable.
But you could have like, this is totes a spro, yo.
No,
and, like,
no, Derek, you're wrong. You can't do that. The English language is bastardized enough as it is. Fucking stop ruining it more. Fuck me.
What about a cap?
A cap?
How do you feel about them when they say, did you want a cap?
I can live with that.
Yeah, you can live with that, yeah.
That's just confusing, though, because that means a different thing.
Yeah, but you're in a coffee shop.
In the context of, if you're ordering at a counter, you're not going to get a hat, are you?
So I told you about the time I went into one of our supermarkets here, Woolies or Coles or whatever it was, and I asked the guy, there's a guy helping me find stuff off the shelves, you know how it is, and I was looking for some camembert. I'm saying it's usually in a container like this, and he's like brie, and he said, yeah, I've got this brie. I said, yeah, it's probably be right near that. And he said, no, we don't have any. We've got this camembert.
Heathen.
I feel like I have heard that story.
Oh, you probably have. It's one of my favourites.
Camembert. Camembert and Spro. Fuck everyone. I hate the world.
Those are cartoon characters, Cam and Bert and Spro.
All right. I think that story, that might be the best way to get moved on from where we were to.
That is. It's a great way to move.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Are we saying goodbye to Derek then?
Well, I'm saying goodbye to y'all because I have Chinese food waiting for me.
Woo!
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
I will take the awkward pause and the indecision away from y'all and check y'all later.
Just before you go, can you tell us what Chinese food you've got so that we can abbreviate it and piss Matt off?
Well, a couple egg rolls and some sesame chicken and...
Seschik.
Grolls and Seschik?
Yeah, rolls and seschik.
Grolls. You got to put a G on the beginning.
Grolls, yeah, grolls.
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 Dave Grohl's and Seschik.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Wow.
I hate everything. I hate everything that there is. Fuck, I'm hungry, though. I could go for some Cess chick. Jesus. There's a couple of Cess chicks at the gig last night.
and I have some main newts as well. Some main newts. It's not
low main. Oh,
low main.
Main nudes.
Main nudes.
Yeah, main nudes, baby.
Yeah, main nudes. I got some of them. I got some of those main nudes. It's fabulous.
All right. We better actually say goodbye to
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, dude.
Y'all take it easy.
All right, man.
Sweet.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks, man.
All right.
See you next time.
Bye.
Appointment setting, Matt. How's that been going? You apparently did some cool stuff with some appointment setting software or something.
Yes, thank you, Satauna, for that wonderful segue. Well, as I'm broadening my client base, I've had to find some software to keep track of who's coming when and who's doing what. Easier said than done. There's a lot of options out there, but a lot of them are inaccessible in the same way, and that is usually the calendar interface is inaccessible, which is frustrating. And this sort of links back to the advocacy stuff we've been talking about a bit recently, and I want to actually talk about that today and get some advice on what the best way to tackle this is. So I went through a bunch of different software, tried a bunch of different trials and stuff, and actually had to pay for some shit, which was not great. And finally found one that is sort of somewhat accessible. It's doable. It's not real nice, but it has an iPhone app, which is pretty accessible, except for the actual choosing the date and time of the appointments. So essentially what this software does for me, because I didn't really say that, I suppose. Essentially what this software does for me is I put the appointment in against the customer's name. It'll send them text message reminders and email reminders and things like that. They can also go in and, look at their appointment booking online and things like that. Eventually we'll be able to book their appointments online through the website. Not ready to do that yet because still sort of feeling it all out. But it's just a matter of turning that feature on. And that will be good because I'm offering, half an hour free consultations, which I need to find a better word for because I don't like the word consultation, for people to come in and talk about what they want to do musically, and then we sort of get in there and, make a plan and whatever. Anyway, so it keeps track of that. It syncs up with Outlook calendars and all that sort of stuff, which is great because it keeps me knowing what the hell I'm doing because I need my phone to tell me what to do at all times. So if they cancel, it keeps track of, why they cancelled. It really cuts down on people not showing up because it's sort of at that level of, I want to say professionalism. That's not the word. It keeps them accountable because it looks a bit more official than just, me calling up going, oh, you're good for your session today at 3.
Yes.
It's like an automated text message. It sort of looks a bit more official, I guess. Yeah. So the one I've got is called Timely, and it's working pretty well. Like I said, the iPhone app is quite accessible, except for the actual booking of the appointments. So I actually have to go in and use the website for that, which is sort of accessible, but not really.
You can't integrate Timely with something that is more accessible, like a Google Calendar?
No, unfortunately not. And that's one of the things I've been looking at. But you have to select the customer and the date and time and the type of session that you're doing, and you have like different services. So I've got different amounts of studio time. Studio consultation, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours.
That's why you're paying, because the free ones,
so you
they
can't
give
sort
you
of
the
do
single.
it backwards the other way, because that's what I thought.
Okay.
But it is doable. It's just fiddly, and I've had to sort of figure out with Ira the best way to do it. And I'm going to sneeze in a second.
I'd love to know which
There it is.
packages you've tried.
I've tried 10 to 8.
10 to 8.
I've tried Capsule. I've tried HubSpot. I didn't give that one a fair go because I got confused.
Interesting, because that's what I'm looking at for my CRM.
HubSpot looks good as a CRM, but its iPhone app looked pretty accessible too.
Yeah.
But I don't think you could book appointments through it. Like, I don't know. It didn't seem to be focused on specifically what I wanted to do, and I didn't want this big CRM and stuff. I'm not important enough for that, but I just needed something just to keep track of the appointments that's a bit more advanced than a calendar that's going to send out automated reminders. That's all I wanted.
Yeah.
Timely's actually targeted towards like a salon or a spa or whatever.
That's perfect for you.
It is, exactly. Come in, record your song, get a massage. Greasy.
Or give one if you can't afford for the session.
You have just slimmed down your client base, or should I call it clace, by 50%. Well on you.
And the 50% that's left.
You didn't try Calendly and You Can Book Me?
See, I haven't even heard of those. I don't know whether they're not available in Australia or... Because you mentioned them before. And
I mentioned them only because they integrate with your Google.
Yep.
What I liked about those, and I don't have them fully integrated yet, in terms of giving out the link to let people make their own appointments, but I have made appointments to see other people through those two interfaces. And from the make an appointment with somebody side, I really liked You Can Book Me.
You Can Book Me. Okay, I'm going to look that up. Because, I mean, I'm not... Timely's working okay, but I'm not sold on it. The one thing I really want it to be able to do is send text messages, and that's not available with all platforms. So that was one of the reasons Capsule didn't work out.
Yeah, and what you're talking about with multiple services, I think if you don't have the paid version of You Can Book Me, then you can only have one service or something like that if you have to do the paid version to have more. But what I like about it is if I set something personal on my Google Calendar and it's connected to You Can Book Me, it blocks the time automatically on the You Can Book Me side. So if I schedule an appointment on my side, it automatically drops it into You Can Book Me, or I can give somebody the link and they can do the scheduling. either way.
Yeah, sweet.
It's as simple as using the Google Calendar and it works out.
Yeah, great. I'll look at that because I mean, time, like I said, time is good, but it's. I wish it was a bit more accessible.
Yeah.
But that leads me to the next thing, which is, I did mention it to them through like their online chat, but I always feel like I'm speaking to the wrong person.
Yeah.
And they're just, you need to speak to the person that actually knows about the software. Oh man, I'm so blocked up. I sound like shit. Ugh.
Can't tell the difference, to be honest. So
love you too.
This is part of the journey, is identifying the right person. And with almost every developer that I've approached over the years, there is that point you have to push through where you just feel like you're being an irritant.
Yeah.
When you do reach the right person, you'll know. There's always a stark difference in how they respond, in that they appear to at least understand why you're asking for what you're asking for, even if they don't instantly know how to implement it. What you do next then, I guess, depends on the platform. You're chasing the iPhone accessibility, right?
Yeah.
Apple's guidelines are really good.
Yeah.
So I would say just send them there.
Yeah, and it's actually been pretty present in the media the last couple of weeks too, with WWDC and stuff. There's been heaps of accessibility stuff being yapped about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess it's getting from that support help desk to actually speaking to someone that, because they just say, "Oh, we'll forward your inquiry through" or whatever. I'm like, ugh, that's not enough,
Yeah.
Most of the time I try and push to be CC'd in on that. And when they say, "We'll forward your inquiry onto the relevant people," ask who that is.
Yeah.
Ask for a name and a team that they work in. Because a lot of the time they've identified the wrong person as the relevant person, or like the wrong team as the relevant team.
Yeah.
You can often make some headway there by just making sure that it at least ends up in the right inbox for someone that might give a shit.
Yeah.
Now, give a shit is the wrong word. A lot of people give a shit, but
It is a matter of me pushing harder.
I don't know about pushing harder. It's probably just more persistence.
Oh no, that's what I mean. It's like just actually getting back to these people and keeping the conversation going, because I have a tendency to flake out because I'm like, oh, this is just fucking too hard basket for today.
Yeah, but even just what you said, Scott, about the next step, ask to be CC'd. Ask who the team is, the name of the person. It's the most common sense thing there is, but I hadn't thought of... Because I feel like the same thing. Like, I get that. Oh, we'll forward it on. Oh, God. All right. Where do I go from here?
And it's like, do I keep paying for this service for the next 3 months, 4 months, 10 months, 11 years?
Yeah.
In the hopes that it can get more accessible?
That's it.
And see, that's the other thing too. You come and you say, well, I don't want to pay for it anymore. And you go through a completely different team of people who are there to try and save you, who will also try and forward your concerns on to who they think is the relevant team.
Mm-hmm.
And a good example of this, and I don't know if we should put this in the podcast because it's sort of singling someone out, but is Source Connect.
Yeah.
Like, me and Satauna were supposed to be on the beta for version 4.0, and that was fucking months ago.
I think almost a year ago. Yeah.
Okay.
Have either of you chased it?
So, and we did actually get through to the developer. We did get through to the developer, and we did actually have a good conversation with them about what needed to happen. And we were like, there's like, okay, the next version is going to be accessible. Then we got an email months later, just out of the blue, saying, would you like to be part of the beta cycle? You did too, didn't you, Satauna? It wasn't just me.
I did. And then it's been silence ever since.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the thing to remember is that in terms of software development at the moment, it's a wild, wild west, right? I'm not going to say that because that sounds like Will Smith.
You wish.
In terms of software development, it's a wild west at the minute. Like, there's so many companies that are just 2, 3, 5 person companies, and they're probably struggling with the same shit we are in terms of consistency.
Yeah.
So these big periods of silence, they're not uncommon.
Yeah.
They are frustrating, but at the end of the day, like, how long does it take to break that silence? Whether you get anything back or not, how long does it take to just find the last email and be like, hey, Dave, been a while, any news on this? It takes like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as long as you're not doing that more than like, I don't know, once a week or something, you're not really going to irritate Dave.
Dave's pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
But I feel like the other thing is that we could, I don't know that we can realistically leave access up to these companies. I mean, I think that with all of this quote unquote machine learning or whatever is going on these days that you seem to hear about, and the smart AIs and stuff that's coming around, our screen readers aren't getting any more intuitive.
No, they're not. I'm on the fence about it. I would like to see smarter screen readers, but if every screen reader manufacturer goes off in a different direction and tries to be smart in different ways, it's going to cause fucking chaos.
2 of the bolts just fell out of my chair and the whole back of it's now just fallen off.
Told you should get in the booth. I was going to actually say something. It sounds like that chair's loose from some of the creaks and cracks you hear.
Oh, it's fucked. I just need to get a new one.
You just need to put your hand underneath the chair every now and then and tighten up the screws. Don't you do that?
Apparently. I don't know. The other one must have fallen out ages ago, and then the holder's back of it just fell off just now.
Oh, mate, I feel for you because chair shopping is hard.
Oh, it sucks, man. It's a big commitment.
I know.
It is, eh?
I've had the same chair for over a decade. It is so fucked, and I just can't bring myself to go buy a new one because it was so hard choosing that one.
Problem.
And they're not even cheap.
I'm thinking about switching to standing. Has anybody else tried that?
I'd love to.
I do sometimes at work. I'll use a Bluetooth keyboard and just stand at my desk and rest it on top of the monitor. Just use it like that for a bit.
How'd you find it, you weird bastard?
Oh, I only do it for a couple of minutes.
Oh, okay.
It just lets you stretch for a minute.
Yeah, I've got you.
But we do have a lot of people who use them at work. You don't want to make it permanent, eh? You want something that you can either be standing or sitting for sure.
Well, I don't want to make it permanent until I know I like it.
But even if you like it, I still think
You still want it to be adjustable.
you still want to be able
Or
to adjust it so
flexible.
you can sit down.
Yeah.
Even if you find, I like this, it's all good. I would not go for a permanent standing desk.
Well, I was thinking about maybe just getting like a bar stool height type thing so I can perch if I need to. But I just feel so fucking sedentary at the end of the day.
Yeah, so do I.
And it's a space saver as well, the standing thing.
Except if you are going to sit down as well, then you've got to store your freaking chair somewhere when you're not sitting in it.
No, but if it's a bar stool, it can go
I don't
under.
know.
It can just tuck under the...
Yeah.
You can get like these... I'm totally disappearing off down a rabbit hole, but you can get like these sort of mats that you can stand on
I'm standing
Okay.
fixing my chair.
that have like all different spiked patterns and bally type things. So like if you're just moving your feet a little bit, it keeps all the blood flowing and... Yeah, sounds nice.
Right.
Sounds like the type of thing that I could spend a lot of money on and totally regret.
Yeah.
This podcast has got super boring.
Yeah, sorry.
This is not even our takes.
So the moral of the story is I need to be a little more persistent and stuff, but yeah, the end.
The
I
end.
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good story.
Good story.
All right. So what are we going to do?
I'll do a real quick
You
workflow
wanted
thing.
to do your workflow stuff, didn't you?
Or maybe it won't even bother.
No, do it. That'll be good.
All right.
So, Garth, you're going to tell us about your workflow for doing the podcast,
Yeah.
for editing the which you don't actually edit.
But if you did edit anything, tell us how you would do it.
How would you do it?
How I would do it. Okay, what I wanted to quickly do is just run through, basically how we put this thing together, because we've had a few questions.
Do we even need editing?
No, we don't. That's
I
the
don't
thing.
think we
It's
even
so
need editing. We're
polished.
perfect. It's just one take wonder.
I had someone say just the other day, I thought it was just a natural conversation. You have no idea.
We're fucking auto-tuned and...
Dude, why are all the nice people getting in touch with you? I just get complaints that we missed uploading something in May.
Oh, man.
I don't get any feedback at all.
So what we're all doing right here, right now, I'm recording a Zoom session. We're all hooked up over Zoom. I'm recording that with Audio Hijack. It's taking a local recording of myself on the left channel and you fine folk on the right channel. You guys are all talking on Zoom, obviously, but that's how we're sort of connecting. I know, Matt, you're on your iPhone.
Yep.
Really doesn't matter. It's just a way of talking. Meanwhile, you're all doing local recordings at your own end with proper mics and so forth. So I'll end up with these 4 files, one that has myself and you lot on left and right channel, and then separate files for each of you.
Good.
Put all those into a Reaper session, use the remote recording on my track of you to line you up with your local recordings. I think that's right.
I'll line you up with...
I'll line you up with yourself. So in Reaper, I'll listen to the left channel that has, remote Matt, Zoom Matt.
Zoom Matt.
I'll get the locally recorded Matt and line that up. I'll then mute Matt
Yeah.
and do the same thing with Scott and the same thing with Satauna. So just line each of you individually up. So you don't have to worry about the whole clap, clap, clap and all this bullshit. It really doesn't take long to do it that way. The good thing with doing it this way is once you have the tracks lined up like that, I go to the, my track that has me on one side and the remote recording on the other, change it to a mono left. The Zoom recording disappears and I'm just left with 4 local recordings all lined up. So all is good.
Then comes the fun bit.
Yeah. And then I use Trim Silence feature in Reaper. Now, I'm basically using it like a gate. So the idea of Trim Silence normally would be to go through and remove silent patches from a piece of audio. So it would cut out all the silent bits, get rid of them, turn it into a whole heap of items that would be, all bunched up at one end of the track. But there's an option there where you can tell it to leave stuff alone. So still delete the silence, just leave all the rest of it in place. So you end up with 4 tracks with a shitload of items on each one. But those items are only the bits where people are talking.
So, Garth, you can set like a threshold, I imagine, can you? For what it thinks silence is, like a gate.
It's exactly like a gate with fades and pads and you can also optionally tell it to run through the track effects for detection of silence. So you could put a bandpass EQ on the track that just isolated, sounded crap, doesn't matter, but just takes you to vocal stuff, gets rid of all the low stuff and, it's not using that as a detection for silence.
Ah, that's cool.
That's clever.
So you end up with all these items. And the good thing about that then is half of your editing, well, not half of it, but some of your editing's already done for you in that if there's a bit where Matt's finishing off his sentence and saying something funny, and those don't happen too often, so you've got to look out for them.
Oh,
Oh, come on now.
poor Matt.
Sorry.
Yeah, thanks, Satauna.
And Scott thinks he's really funny, so he comes in early and starts saying something over top.
I blame latency. When you're in the room with me, my timing is fucking amazing.
No, it's true. The latency, like any sort of thing like this where we're on Zoom, it's really, it's hard. There's going to be a heap of talking over each other, and that's fine. But the good thing with having these items already split out into this is each individual person where they're actually talking, is that I can just grab that bit where Scott starts too early, make sure it's on Ripple All Tracks, nudge it to the right, and job done. You've uncovered Matt and you've made Scott start afterwards.
And because you're set to Ripple All Tracks, everything else moves in accordance with the change you've just made, right?
Yeah. So I don't have to, if I was going through manually editing it, I'd have to make sure that Satauna's track was split. I'd have to make sure my track was split. I'd have to go and put all those splits in first. But because during this whole interlude, Satauna and I were already silent, that's already just blank space. There's nothing there. The next item that involves Satauna is not until she starts talking, which might be a minute down the path.
Yeah, cool.
By doing the trim silence, you've got all your initial edits done so that then you are just rearranging the bits of Lego of people talking.
So why does it take so bloody long to get an episode out then?
Because the recording is...
I know.
When you're listening to this, pause your podcast now. Check what time we're at. Because on the recording, we are at 91 minutes now. Garth's reality.
It really is just sitting down and getting into it, because it will take a good few hours to go through and turn that 90 minutes into 60 minutes or whatever it turns out to be. You can work on a couple of minutes and suddenly an hour's disappeared and you've moved like you've done the intro 5 minutes into the thing and an hour's gone.
Yeah.
And
do you speed the play rate up, Garth?
Sometimes, but I actually don't find that I like doing that.
I've been doing loads of dialogue editing for this client I've had for the last couple of months. He's doing like a course, and I've found that I've only been doing the edits at about 1.7 speed.
1.7, no.
But I feel like because it's a single track, that's achievable. With 4 tracks or even more than one, I feel like that would be kind of, you'd miss stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do a lot of speed up with my voiceover stuff too. Yep.
Well, the other thing to remember is that even once you get us synced up with the Zoom recording, our actual timing on all of those local recordings is at the mercy of Zoom's latency, right?
Drifts.
Yeah.
To get this shit sounding natural, you actually have to tweak the timing a lot more than you would if we were all just sitting in the same room.
Absolutely. And those files drift as well. If you listen to the beginning and the end after you've synced up the beginning, one person might be a few seconds out
Yeah, what is that? Is that just audio interfaces
who
being
knows?
shit, or Windows being
Yeah,
shit?
or
Yeah, it's just clocks.
computers in the clock or whatever. I don't know,
Right.
but they do.
It's basically Garth should fly us all up to the Gold Coast, and we can do a local one.
Yeah.
That sounds like a fantastic idea.
Hey, Garth.
Yeah.
I have a theory about the frame drop thing that causes us to go out of sync. I think it's because time moves slower every time Matt tries to make a joke.
Oh, it took you a while, but you got it in there.
Burn!
You got it in there. Sick burn, bro.
I think you should buy me a Spro for that.
I don't know. I think for the 2-year anniversary, Scott should fly everybody out.
I think so.
Yeah, that'll be episode 14 at this current rate.
I'll tell you what, we'll do this. If you're willing to pay for and book your own travel, you can all kip on my lounge floor. How about that?
Oh, that sounds fucking wonderful. That's an offer I can definitely refuse.
Can you find somewhere nicer to live first, though?
I'm moving later this month, man, and there's fucking carpet.
You're joking.
Where were you up to, Garth?
I don't know. So once
Everything's synced up.
I'll do a first pass through and take it down to the content we actually want to keep, doing a little bit of leveling and all that sort of stuff while doing that, and then hand it over to Scott, who does another pass through, takes out a little bit more and changes the timing a bit and fixes a few other things up, and then it's pretty much ready to go. Most of the processing on the tracks is just the same as it was last time because not much changes. We're all pretty stable in our environment, so we don't have to mess with that too much other than just decide how many items require deplosive for Matt.
Oh, come on now. I'm using a pop filter this month.
Are you? That's
I'm a professional.
fucking relief.
Maybe for the 1-year anniversary, I might set up in the booth just for fun. There's already a mic in there. I should just fucking go sit in there. It's all set up.
I feel like this is the clearest example of unacknowledged privilege I've ever seen.
Literally have to go in Array console and change the input over. That's all I have to do.
Oh, Matt.
You're the worst.
I9, that would get us out of trouble.
I9.
Yep.
What's I9?
Input 9?
And now he's bragging about how many inputs he's got. Fuck me.
And that's basically how we put an episode of Tarts together. I'm not going to go through all processing and that shit.
And then me and Satauna don't listen to it and just say, yeah, sure, whatever.
Pretty much.
I usually put a render into Dropbox first and say, guys, have a listen. And once or twice someone has come back with feedback. But mostly, I don't know. So, Satauna, have you even heard any of the episodes yet at all?
Yeah. And I've actually heard some of them from Alexa.
Ah, nice.
Like you can ask Alexa to play the audio roundtable and she will do it.
Good girl, Alexa.
I've asked Siri to do it.
Yeah.
I listen in the bath.
Oh.
I haven't asked Google Home Mini, but I assume Google would do it too.
Google does do it, but it's hard to get the right show, I find.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of things with roundtable in them.
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll try and sell you round tables for the rest of the week.
There's time slowing down again.
Oh, fuck off. Can't wait for you to put an awkward silence in after that, Scott, when you do the edit.
Hey, I laughed.
Yeah, it was a sympathy laugh, but I'll take that. That's what I get.
No. Come on, let's face it. Scott will pinch that laugh and use it somewhere else for his own joke.
It's true.
It sounded genuine enough. It's definitely getting used, yeah.
Mark that.
All right. Well,
Beautiful.
how do we round this sucker off?
Well, we've come to the end of yet another episode. The first double-digit episode, and if you have been with us this long, wow, we thank you and can't believe it. And give us feedback. Send your comments, criticisms, laughs that we can use to pretend that we are having genuine conversations. You can send them to feedback@theaudioroundtable.com.
Also, tell some people about it. If you've stuck it out for 10 episodes, you clearly enjoy it. Tell someone, be they friend, foe, or lover.
Or enemy.
I'm going to send a link to my mum. I don't show her fucking anything I do, so if I can do that, you can tell your best mate about it.
And start from episode 1.
Yeah, we were really into it back then.
Oh, I don't know about that, man. I feel like it's gotten better. since.
It has gotten better, but there's a whole heap of context.
Yeah,
All the callbacks.
that's true.
Yeah.
Start from episode 1 so that you know all of our inside jokes.
That's only 10 hours of content to get through. Binge the shit out of that.
I mean, realistically, if you're blind, you probably haven't got much else to do. So, crack on.
This is Ed Murrow.
We're cutting that.
Crack on.
Yeah, crack on. I was going to say the same thing. Crack on. What the hell is that?
Crack on. It's a British thing. It means, like, get going. Like, chop, chop.
Oh, crack
Chop,
on.
Crack on.
Chop, chop. Crack on.
Yeah.
All right. Crack on. Wow.
But, dude, how funny would it be, though, to do the, like, if you're blind, you probably haven't got much better to do. So, crack on and then just rip into that 1940s cleaned up record of Derek.
We can totally do that. You just said it all.
Oh, let's do it. Beautiful.
That's the ending. No one had to nearly shit themselves this time. That's the ending.
Beautiful.
Oh, that was pretty funny, though.
It's Matt's thing of, you really need to poo.
Oh, did that make it in, did it?
Yeah, no, it's in the outtakes. It's in the outtakes.
It's
Dude, I've been in
fantastic.
so many sessions like that where I'm just like, why can't you play your fucking guitar? I need to poo so badly.
Was this episode 8 or 9?
That was in episode 7?
I think 7, yeah.
7.
Oh, missed that one. I need to catch up.
It's been long enough now that you can actually listen to it and enjoy it.
Did we talk about this stuff? Oh, we definitely are still using the same jokes.
Right, as we cross the 100-minute threshold, have we got it? I think we've got it.
I think we've got
We're
it.
done, yeah, we're done.
Yeah.
We're
We're done.
officially done.
Let us all stop.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a good one.
It won't be as long as the last one anyway.
Hey Tarts, coming back from a wedding. Couple of things. Sorry to get into chance to edit episode 10. Couple other things. So we were able to buy some popcorn the other day, and we put some in the car for trip home tonight from the wedding, which is about an hour and a half trip home from the wedding, which is heaps annoying. But the popcorn was great. The trouble is when you run out, you want more. It was like super good popcorn. We're talking like popcorn like movies from the 90s, right? That sort of popcorn. How it used to be. But we found the ultimate antidote for it, me and Ian. Rum and raisin chocolate, block of chocolate. Garth, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you haven't had it, mate, what the fuck are you doing? But I don't know, do you guys have it in the UK or what? I don't know about America. You probably have Hershey's, which is fucking terrible. Have you had Hershey's chocolate? No. It's the worst. It's like American, they reckon it's the best. It's shit house. So you would have rum and raisins, Garth. It's the best thing ever. Anyway, that's how you put the fire out of popcorn. It's important, alright? It's important to know. Ian, any thoughts?
More popcorn.
Apparently there's a low tree. Oh, righto, so hang on, here's the story. Tonight while I'm playing away, working away, entertaining the masses, Mr. Bloody Ian Nord over here sneaks out to the van and has a fucking row of rum and raisin chocolate to himself.
The whole row.
What a bloody disgrace. What a disgrace. Here I am, working away.
It was cold, I had to do something to warm up.
Drinking all the free beers that I was drinking. I've had some good beers on tonight, an XPA and a Golden Ale. Someone was drinking Moe too. Some chick ordered Moe. I don't think she paid for it. So loads of shit, like, people think it's fancy, but it's not. It's like champagne, it's not actually that good, but people think it's fancy because it's Moe. Anyway, just to let you all know. I doubt anyone's listening to this message though. Also, Rufus de Sol is good. Ready? Rufus the Soul, Triple J mix on the way home. Bye! Say bye.
Bye.
Ooh, watch your step, McLaren. I've seen this sort of thing before. You might be losing control of your workforce there, man. And it's easily done. I'm not blaming you. It's a basic incompatibility between human rights and human nature, isn't it? That's the problem. Like, workers get rights. Seems like a decent thing to do. Everyone trots along happily for a couple of 100 years, but then inevitably someone starts taking the piss. You're going to need to rein him in, man. Establish boundaries. I think that's the proper terminology for it nowadays. Is he with the union? I mean, if he's not with the union, you can probably just slap him about a bit and explain what he did wrong. Or, no, fuck it, don't even explain. That makes you seem too approachable. I reckon if you explain and you seem approachable, come next Christmas, he's going to want the day off. Of course, if he is with the union, your options are a bit more limited. Could you slam his fingers in the van door and make it look like an accident? I mean, he'd still be able to drive, but he's not going to find it quite so easy to break off rows of rum and raisin with bandaged hands, is he? Although, then he might switch to just using his teeth, so you'll need to make sure he's vaccinated, and Christ, I bet you'll even have to pay for it. This is a nightmare.
After the next gig, and I just showed Ian that reply, Scott, which might be one of the funniest things you've ever done. How do you feel, Ian?
Oh, I don't know what to say. It's just... I had my vaccinations, by the way, and I didn't use my teeth.
Not this time.
No, not this time. Only to chew on the bits I broke off.
Oh, that was fucking funny, man. He's not a part of a union either. He's a subcontractor, so fuck him.
Yeah. Just let me about.
No
McLaren.
rights. No rights. I'm gonna have to have a serious chat with you.
Okay. Over a beer or two.
All right then, your shout. Fun gig story. Bunch of footy heads at the gig last night. I finished one of my sets, and my mate's like, "Good song, now fuck off." Living the dream. Do you think Scott sounds nice because he's got a British accent?
He can hear us.
Fucking hell. Jesus. I had a lovely glass of red Malbec. How do you say it? Malbec? Malbec, I was right.
From McLaren Vale.
Malbec wine from McLaren Vale Wines, which is
I believe it's 2016.
2016 vintage. Garth, I know where McLaren Vale is, in the connoisseur that he is. And by connoisseur, I mean he just pounds bottles of red into him.
What did Ash say about me? I understood stop it, and then the next bit was too Australian. It sounded like he's a Vince? What's a Vince?
Chesworth, you are a total Vince. You are. You fucking Vince, you.
Don't. You convince him it's Australian slang.
It is. It's Australian slang. Garth knows what I'm talking about. Garth,
No, don't.
isn't Scott a Vince?
I'm not
He's a fucking total Vince. I honestly don't remember what we said, to be fully honest. It was something about Ash likes his accent.
I can't remember. Okay, there's too many men in my life.
I'm gonna go. There's no follow up to that. If we're gonna go into what's now called the there's Ash gets into this state. It's called the cackle grunt. Cackle grunt is what it is. Hi, Ash.
Turn it off.
Hello.
Turn it off. Oh, break it. Turn it off.
There it is. There it is.
Don't be mean to me. It's the worst laugh in the world.
It is the worst laugh in the world. You're right. This is your fault, Chesworth. You Vince.
Don't. It's not a word. You're an asshole. Turn it off. No.
Oh, I'm so happy.
I've googled Vince. That's not very nice, is it? So now the cackle grunt is going in the outtakes for episode 10. Hope you're pleased with yourselves.
Scott, 16th, 19th of November, something like that. England. I'm going to come and see you.
Whee! What brings you to these barren shores? It's a fucking long way to come for 3 days, dude.
I challenge you assholes to have a better recording than what me and Garth and Ash had in the Gold Coast for the podcast. Garth was obviously the star, I mean the drunken dickhead that he was. But me and Ash played important roles. So I challenge you guys.
Remember that.
No, you probably best you don't. It's on the internet now.
Yay.
Yeah, we can definitely get a better recording than that, man. It's the two funny co-hosts getting together. It's going to be good.
And by the way, I'll have a look at episode 10 this afternoon, tonight, maybe. Definitely this week sometime. I'll do episode 10. Anything else? No. All right, bye.
Time on the calendar. On the calendar.
Cackle grunt is what it is. There it is. There it is.
Don't be mean to me. It's the worst laugh in the world.
It is the worst laugh in the world, you're right.